and welcome back to Style of Substance, and welcome to today's career-related video on how to work for big brands like Microsoft, KPMG, Reuters, Grant Thornton and Vodafone. Now these are all companies that I have either worked for or on behalf, and I'm going to be talking you through my top tips for securing great jobs with great brands and great companies. If you like the sound of that, then you're definitely going to want to keep watching. So in my career, I've been lucky enough, but also hardworking enough to be able to secure jobs with some of the world's biggest brands and also some of the best companies to work for. Not bragging at all, I worked really hard to get to the positions that I've been able to work in. And I just want to share with you guys what I did and share with you my journey and give you a bit of an insight into that. Now, I'll be coming at this from a marketing perspective, but I think that the things I'm going to discuss apply across the board and would be useful for any recent graduates. So if you've just finished university and you're going to start applying for graduate jobs soon, if you are moving into your second or third job in your career, so you're an experienced hire, as they would call it, this would also be quite useful. So the first tip really is to apply. Now, as simple as that might sound, a lot of us are intimidated by applying for really big known companies, such as the ones that I've mentioned. And I certainly was as well for a period of time. I think you definitely aren't going to get anywhere if you don't push yourself or force yourself to actually put your CV out there and let these people see you and be exposed to you. The second tip is to not be afraid of rejection. Now, these companies get thousands upon thousands of applications from students, graduates, experienced working professionals from all over the world all the time. So you're likely going to be up against loads of different people, and often you will face some form of rejection, whether that's not getting through to the next stage of your application, whether that's your CV not even being considered, or whether that's getting to the final stage and not being chosen in favour of another applicant. So don't be afraid of rejection, because all the most successful people in the world have faced rejection tons and tons of times. I actually worked out a stat to myself that for every 45 jobs I applied for, I got an interview for one. And that interview generally resulted in me being offered a role. And it doesn't necessarily have to be 45. Everyone has different circumstances, but I would say you need to face rejection quite a few times before you actually start to see some results and start to see success. And funny enough, how it always tends to happen for me is that after I get through to interview stage with one role, I'd start getting through to interview stages with more roles, and that's because you become more experienced in the application process. The third tip is to have somebody look at your CV. Now, if you've been applying and if you haven't gotten through to an interview stage or telephone interview stage, it's likely to do with something in your CV that these companies aren't picking up on. So either something you're missing from your CV or something that you've not phrased in the best way. I would definitely recommend having a professional look at your CV, and there are plenty of different companies who you can pay to essentially enhance your CV and make it really stand out and really professional. These companies look at very simple things from spelling and grammar and everything being listed in chronological order. Some of them even do interviews with you to draw out some of the key facts and figures. What some of these big brands want to know is, can you deliver results? So if you don't have any evidence of that in your CV, for example, they're not going to really know exactly what you're capable of. So if you can put real life examples of how you've increased revenue, or how you've grown market share, or how you've increased the number of leads coming through, or how you've improved click-through rates and email campaigns, you need to put the figures down on paper, and that is what these companies will help you do. If you're not sure where you've done that, they will draw out as much useful information and tidbits that would really enhance your CV, essentially. So get a professional to look at your CV, and even get some family members to look at your CV. So if you can't afford to have an outside company do it, have friends or family that either work for those companies or that just have a good eye for things to look at your CV. It's always worth getting a second opinion on that. My fourth tip would be to do lots of interview practice. And a lot of where people fall down is they don't interview well. I do understand that if you're hiring someone, you really do need to get a feel for who they are, and you need to get in front of them and look into the whites of their eyes, as people say, but I don't think interviews are a true representation of what someone is capable of. I think there are loads of people who interview really well, but actually don't perform on the job. And then I think there's some people that don't interview as well, but actually would really be a great asset to an organisation. So the best chance you have of getting yourself through to the next stage or getting yourself that role is to practice interviewing. And that is as simple as sitting down with a friend or family and having them ask you the questions that you think are going to run through and you answering them, and putting yourself in that position as often as possible so you get as comfortable as possible with being asked questions. For a lot of big brands, you'll go through multiple interview stages. So what you might have is you submit your CV, there's an online application form or an assessment, then you do a telephone interview, then you go for an assessment day, and you might even have another interview after that if they're still trying to kind of figure out where to place you. So there are several stages, so you don't want to fall at the first hurdle. And I feel like once you get past that first interview stage, then the rest of them are really easy. So lots of interview practice, and really just get yourself comfortable and get yourself familiar and get yourself relaxed with being questioned in that kind of way. My fifth tip and my final tip is to very much do your research. There is no more valuable thing than research into an organisation, whether you're researching the people that are doing the interviews or the person you'd be reporting into on LinkedIn and looking at their experience and the kind of things that they've done and seeing where you can identify with their career path, or whether it's looking up the company and their values on their website and the type of people they employ and the type of working environment would be in, going to physically see the offices, whether it's looking at videos that they've posted online, whether it's talking to people that you know who already work there, or getting a connection to somebody who knows someone that works there. You have to do your research, because as much as you may want to work there, it might not actually be the company for you. So getting an idea of the company culture, the kind of people they employ, what the role would involve, is always really useful. So that's it. Those are my tips to working for really big brands. And as you'll have noticed, it's probably not that different from working for any company. These are all the things that you should be doing when you're applying for any job role. But when it comes to big brands, I think the thing that sets you apart is absolutely having a really impressive CV, being able to interview really well, knowing the company like the back of your hand and doing all of your research, and putting yourself out there and applying and not being afraid of rejection. I have worked for all of these companies in some capacity. So Vodafone and Grant Thornton, I worked for agency side, so I was working for a marketing agency but working on those two accounts specifically. I worked for Microsoft for a year, and then when I was working agency side, I worked on the Microsoft account. When I worked for Microsoft, that was in an events marketing capacity, whereas when I went back agency side, it was kind of working with their smaller technology partners and helping them to plan out their marketing strategy. I have worked for Reuters. I was there for just over a year and a half, working as a marketing manager and looking after their audit, risk and know your customer sort of financial services product. And now I work at KPMG as a marketing executive, looking after the small business accounting sector partnerships marketing program. So I have worked for all of these companies in some capacity, and I have been through the application process with all of them, some more lengthy than others, definitely. So I talk from experience. I talk as somebody who has been there and done it. Now, the company that I work for, I applied for several different roles over a period of a few years. So I didn't give up, and that is the most important thing. Never give up, because your dream company is at the other side of a good few application rejections. If you guys are wanting to see more videos in this series or want to kind of find out more about my career journey, then please do comment down below or give the video a thumbs up, and I can definitely arrange to do more videos like that. I have a careers playlist on my channel, so if you go to the playlist tab on my channel homepage, you can see loads of other videos. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed that video. Do let me know if you want me to do more of these types of videos, or leave any video suggestions in the comments box below and I will definitely add them to my list. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a lovely day. If you've just graduated university, or if you're in a position where you're looking for a new job, I hope you found this extremely useful. And if you haven't, let me know. See you guys in the next one. Bye.